All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to today's webinar. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. My name is Jenna, and I work for Emerging Destinations, and we represent the Guyana Tourism Authority in North America. So today I'm being joined by Nicola Balram. She's works with the GTA in Guyana, and she's going to be talking to us about conservation and safe experiences in Guyana. So what we mean by SAVE experiences, just to give you a quick note, it stands for Scientific, Academic, Volunteer, and Educational. So a lot of people put a lot of work into this Guyana SAVE guide, which Nicola will be mentioning more to you about in her presentation, as well as going through some of the different conservation projects that they currently have underway in Guyana. So we have a really great presentation prepared today for you. So before I get to that, though, I will take a quick minute to introduce our emerging destinations portfolio to you. So, of course, we have Guyana up there in the top left corner. We have Terra Nova Costa Rica Travel Designs, a small boutique DMC in Costa Rica, the Hotel Las Torres and Fantastico Sur in the Chilean Patagonia in the Cerro del Paine National Park. We have Cruz Andino, also in Patagonia, Jungle Experiences doing the Amazon River cruising in Peru, and Grand Hotels Lux, who have properties in both Argentina and Uruguay. So again, if you have any questions about any of the other logos or companies that you see up there, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. My email address is at the bottom of the screen there. So if you want any digital material, any print material, any want to set up a private training session with your team, please feel free to reach out to me about any of those inquiries. So before I hand things over to Nicola, though, I will take a quick couple minutes just to do some housekeeping items. So as always, this session will be recorded. So if you do need to step away or take a call, anything like that, don't worry. I'll be sending out the recording to everyone later this week, as well as all of our previous Guyana webinars are available on our YouTube channel. We have a specific category for Guyana, or you can also find them on our Emerging Destinations website. So if you do miss any, they can all be found there, but don't worry, I will definitely send this recording to you later this week. And lastly, we would just love for you to participate. So again, if you have any comments or questions that come up throughout Nicola's presentation, you can type them over to us using the GoToWebinar control panel. We will get Nicola to answer as many of those questions as we can at the end of the session. So please feel free to send those over to us and we'll do a quick little Q&A at the end here. So without further ado, though, I'm going to hand everything over to Nicola.
Thanks, Jenna. Good afternoon, good morning, or good day to everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar and learning all about conservation and safe travel experiences here in Guyana. So my name is Nicola Balram. I work at the Guyana Tourism Authority, and we are based here in Georgetown, Guyana. I work in our destination marketing division, and you can get me on my email at nicola@guyanatourism.com. And that's just a little photo of what I look like, and you're gonna learn more about this particular location and a little bit about that turtle that I'm holding a little on in the presentation. And just a background picture of what Guyana looks like, one of our many landscapes. And this is actually the Kinuku Mountains that you're seeing here. So Guyana is a rare kind of place, one where you can find nature's beating heart. Now, this specific image is Kaichor Falls. It's not specifically in the conservation and safe travel experiences, but it's one of our highest visited attractions. It's about 4 to 5 times higher than Niagara Falls, and it's one of the places where you can have a truly untouched experience. There are no rails, not that much distance between you and the waterfall. It's just you and nature and your small group when you get here. So where is Guyana? Guyana is a small South American nation just about the size of Idaho and located below the Caribbean Sea, sandwiched between Venezuela, Suriname, and Brazil. It's the only country in South America where English is the native language. And this means that you can have a lot of our experiences and as well as with a lot of our guides and indigenous peoples in English also without the need for a translator. When getting to Guyana from wherever you are, especially in the US, we do average about 6 hours from New York, about 5 hours from Miami. And we also had Copa Airlines that used to service about 14 destinations that used to connect through Panama as well. I know that things are a bit different now because of COVID, and we'll touch on that a little bit after. But prior to COVID, these are the airlines that were serving Guyana in 2020, and those that do have direct connections to Guyana and semi-direct connections also. All of them still have a vested interest in serving Guyana once borders are a bit open and it's safe to travel again. So currently our international airports are only open to returning Guyanese, international workers, and diplomats on repatriation flights to Guyana. Now, this is just a snapshot of what it looks like right now in the country in relation to COVID-19. We have about 2,269 confirmed cases. We have a total of 1,339 cases that have recovered and so far have done about 12,000 tests to date. In terms of the country's situation right now, we are taking a phased opening approach to COVID-19. And every month we do get an update on those phases. So currently for the month of September, we are on a curfew from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Essential businesses such as supermarket, banks are allowed to be open from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Hotels and lodges are allowed to be open for 24 hours. However, not all services are allowed to be. And some lodges have not been open just because of the fact that they are very tourism centric. And right now they do not have those travelers in those lodges to be operational and to keep the staff on for this period of time. But they are making all of the necessary changes that they can to ensure a safe opening up when it's time to do so. Social distancing and wearing masks in public is required, and you are allowed to do about 90 minutes of exercise in public open spaces. There are restrictions on some social activities, and you can do outdoor dining, takeaway, and curbside pickup from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. also. When someone is traveling to Guyana currently, they will have to submit a negative PCR test about 7 days before travel. They have to wear a face mask while in the airport as per whatever policy, as well as during the flights. They will be discontaminated in the airports when landing in Guyana and have to complete and submit a health information form to our port authorities, as well as submit a negative molecular PCR test and a temperature test on arrival. Now, we anticipate that this policy will stay in place even as we open up to international travelers as well, because we think globally it is something that all airports will also require. But just to give you an update on what the situation is here, and now we get into the meat of what this webinar is about, which is what is the Guyana tourism product? Now, Guyana is a place that it has a lot of experiences and a lot of things that can touch you, but for our purposes, we try to best define it in 5 main areas. So when here, you'll get nature and wildlife experiences, active exploration experiences, birding, culture and heritage, and conservation and safe travel experiences. Now, one of the most special things about Guyana is that no matter what activity you do, what your day looks like, you will always touch more than one of these aspects or pillars of tourism in any activity that you choose to do. But now we're going to dive in a little bit more into what conservation and safe travel is. So conservation tourism, by definition, is commercial tourism which makes an ecologically significant net positive contribution to the effective preservation and sustainable development of biodiversity. Now that definitely is a mouthful, but for us, what conservation tourism is, it's tourism that allows our lodges or people, researchers as well, to be able to preserve what is not found in many places in the world right now, especially now with a lot of places being mass tourism centric, where Guyana is still in that niche that we used to travel where it used to be or travel how it used to be and have these authentic experiences that is tied to nature, adventure, and culture. Safe travel is a relatively new term in the space, and like Jenna said, it does mean scientific, academic, volunteer, and educational travel. Scientific, meaning travel for specific purposes, knowledge, and advancements. Academic travel is for learning activities. Volunteer travel to participate in activities that will contribute to the betterment of society, local communities, or the economy and the environment. And educational travel for personal gratification, growth, and even qualification in academic credits or scientific research. Now, sometimes, and especially in Guyana, these terms can be interchangeable in the sense that when you are doing any type of safe travel, it usually is a form of conservation tourism. And when you are, even as a regular traveler, learning about the conservation efforts here, you can participate in some of the safe travel. We actually know that the safe travel section and market is somewhere that there wasn't a lot of information out there. So we recently launched a safe travel guide, which teaches you a little bit more about this niche of travel, why Guyana is an ideal place for this kind of travel, and also some of the local country providers that you can contact here, as well as international universities and international tour operators that have programs specifically for this. Now, this presentation will cover some of those areas that you will learn more about in the Safe Travel Guide, but we're just going to highlight some of the main lodges in this area where you can learn some about this or see what's in action. So if you look at the map here, whenever you're coming to the country of Guyana, your first stop will actually be in our capital city of Georgetown with the red star. From there, you're going to take a small 9 to 12 seater plane, or you can go by road to the lodges in what we call the North and South Rupununi, which is situated in our rainforest and savanna regions. Our first stop on this trip is Iwokrama River Lodge. Iwokrama River Lodge is a research center that sits in the middle of the Iwokrama Rainforest Reserve, which is a protected area here in Guyana. Now, I can go on a little bit more about what they do, why they do it, but I think a video might be able to explain a bit better. We actually just finished one of our tourism pillar videos that is focused on conservation and save, and we're actually releasing it later on in this month, but we thought it would be a great way to start it off so you guys can get a preview. So you will be seeing that video shortly.
And the cool thing is Iwokrama is a living laboratory. I mean, it's pretty remote. It's in the center of the Guyana Shield Forest, and yeah, it's one of the most well-studied places in Guyana, which isn't actually that well-studied of a country. So Iwokrama actually contributes quite a bit to the national knowledge, or national scientific knowledge on our natural systems. And all sorts of stuff happens here. Like there's been work in hydrology, rainfall, fungi, plants. So we get a whole range of people coming through. Sometimes students, but other times like professors, labs. So yeah, a pretty good range of people come through.
My name is Sean Laughlin, and in my hand is actually one of the animals that I've always wanted to see in the wild. This is the Philomedusa bicolor, which is a species of frog that can be very active, as you can see. But they're one of the largest tree frogs on the planet. They're just so special because they get their name the monkey frog because of the way that they walk up trees. It's very cryptic. And they can blend in really well with the surrounding environment, and the females are absolutely huge, much bigger than this individual I have in my hand, which is a male. My area of research is herpetology. I study the reptiles. That includes both reptiles and amphibians. And the thing with Guyana and South America is they have some of the most unique herpetology animals on the planet. And one of the things that also about Guyana is it's one of the last true remaining prime forests in the Amazon. And it's really nice to see such a healthy ecosystem with lots of awesome animals.
This project was started because a lot of population of the river turtles were like kind of decreasing. I can say the population was going down all the time. We come together and we say what we're gonna do. We're gonna try and increase the population of the river turtles. What we are doing here is it's a second chance of survival for the turtles. So we used to keep them here for a year, and now we come up with a plan saying that we are not going to keep them here for a year. We're going to keep them here for like 5 or 6 months and then release them back. So far we released 1,000 plus in the wild.
All right. So that was one of our main videos that you actually got the very first chance to see. Hopefully when it's up on our Facebook and YouTube channels and website as well, you would revisit it. We love the work that went into it, and especially the projects that it focused on. So in that video, talked a little bit about Iwokrama River Lodge and the fact that it's not only specific to one type of preservation or conservation project, but it does touch a lot of areas in terms of biodiversity of the rainforest and the wildlife species that live within that rainforest as well. In the Iwokrama Rainforest Reserve is also the home to the Iwokrama Canopy Walkway, which is found at Atoll Lodge, which is just about an hour's drive from the main river lodge. Here, this is a bridge that's suspended about 30 feet high, and it's about 100 feet long, and it carries you through the rainforest, where you can have it as a general tourism experience, and you can also have it for that conservation and save aspect also. Our next stop is Rewa Eco Lodge. This lodge is best known for its Arapaima conservation project. So Rewa Eco Lodge is also found in the heart of the rainforest, just between where two of our main rivers, the Rewa River and the Rupununi River, meet. The Arapaima Conservation Project started a couple of years ago. The Arapaima is actually the largest scaled freshwater fish in the world, and Guyana is the only place where you might be able to find it, but where you can do catch and release fishing of this particular species in order to protect the population. Many sport fishers come here, as well as those that just want to learn about the efforts and do some research on the Arapaima. They use the guides at our lodge and they go out fishing for the species. And when they have it, they take it, they take their photos with it, and then the guests and the visitors also a part of the process of releasing it back into the wild. This species can get up to about 400 pounds in weight and about 800 feet long. Caiman House, which is also featured in the video that you saw, is very famous for its black caiman tagging project and turtle conservation project. This is found in a village of Iwokrama in the North Rupununi. One of the most interesting things about this lodge is that it actually started off as a research center for a US scientist, I think in the late 1990s, early 2000s. From there, the villagers of the Iwokrama village saw the potential to also include some of this research projects as tourism experiences that even those from the rainforest and the research facilities can come down for their research purposes, but general guests and visitors of the lodge would love to come as well and learn more about it and learn how this project sustains their lifestyle. So if you're actually in the lodge, it looks a little bit like a tree house from the outside, but when you're inside, it looks very much like a man-made library with woods and some of its books, and you can even see skulls of previous caimans as well that they've done some research on. So the caiman is the cousin to the alligator and crocodile. And from some of these images here, it might seem a bit daunting, but how this process actually works, you will go out in the night with your guide and they will catch a caiman in the Blackwater rivers. They then bring that caiman onto the shore and the sandbanks where they will tape them out and just hold the hands down. And you'll have about one guide in front, one at the back, and about two on the other sides just to measure it. Now, it might look like they're hurting them in the process, but they are actually not. The guides here do it in the most humane way possible and ensure that these caimans are not harmed in the process. When they do bring it onto the shore bank, they measure the snout, they measure the length of the caiman and all elements of it. They also weigh the caiman before putting it back and even checking the sex of the caiman, and to some extent marking it to know how the population is growing. The reason this project actually got started was in the early 1990s, many poachers used to come in Guyana from the Brazilian border to hunt this animal for their skins. And once the aspect of conservation and tourism came about, the villagers and those in the village found that they would be able to help protect this species and their rainforest by bringing light to what this animal actually does and how they can help protect the species by widening that range into the conservation tourism space. Caiman House is also very famous for its turtle preservation project. This story is actually one of my favorites that I heard from the guide. So those in the indigenous village of Iwokrama usually have a turtle festival every year. At this turtle festival, it's usually held in April, where the custom at the time was to collect turtles. You would kill them and have the meat for them as a celebration because it was a delicacy in the world. About 4 to 5 years ago, the local population noticed that the amount of turtles was decreasing from year to year, and the indigenous population knew that they were the reason for this decrease. So instead of continuing that tradition during the Turtle Festival, they started a way to preserve the population. They knew that the likelihood of turtles actually surviving in the wild is very slim. So when the turtles are small, they have it at Caiman House in Yupakari, and about 4 to 5 months after its birth, they release them into the wild during the Turtle Festival. And since then, they have not partaken in turtle meat eating. And actually, this species is now listed on Guyana's list of protected species in the country. This is just a great story to see how the community saw that it was an issue that they caused and how they took it upon themselves to rectify the issue and bring a lot of light to it to their locals, because what they do at this turtle festival, they allow the children to be the first persons to release it back into the wild. And this is the story that they tell a lot of travelers when they come here for research, and they can see the animals as well as just general travelers through the industry as well. Now, all of the areas I touched on before was focused in the North Rupununi region of the country, which is a lot more rainforest based. But if you go more south, you are welcome into the South Rupununi of Guyana, which is a lot more savanna landscape. Here we also have the South Rupununi Conservation Society. This is a group of indigenous peoples from that particular area of the world that is very interested in red siskin preservation. The red siskin is one of the birds endemic to the Guyana Shield area and one of our key birds that many people come to see. And they know that the population was getting very small as well because it was a species that was very high on the poaching list. So this small society in the South Rupununi now have a project that they monitor the species growth, and how that species and the breeding patterns for that species in the area to one day hope to replicate it and increase that population further. These are all examples of local communities and local tourism operators that have taken on this role, but in Guyana we also have some conservation organizations that do work in and outside of the tourism field. But because many of our conservation and many of our tourism products is tied to conservation, they do work a lot with the Guyana Tourism Authority as well as with the communities and lodges highlighted. We have Conservation International, WWF Guyanas, and Sustainable Wildlife Management Program Guyana. Now, Sustainable Wildlife Management Program specifically, we're going to show you a video a little bit later on that talks more about what their program is and why, and from the viewpoint of someone that's in these communities in terms of why tourism is a big part of their life. Outside of those that I've highlighted, these are some of the other lodges in the South and North Rupununi where you can either use as a home base as you go to explore other avenues of conservation tourism or other avenues of safe travel tourism or just general tourism experiences that touches these. So we have Surama Eco Lodge in the North Rupununi, which was actually the very first community-led and owned tourism lodge in Guyana. More towards the border between the north and the south, there is Waikin Ranch. In the South Rupununi, as well as Karanambu Lodge, and in the South Rupununi, you have Wishabai Ranch. Karanambu Lodge is very well known for its giant river otter conservation project that was started by Diane McTurk, and similar to the turtle conservation project in Iwokrama, they rear these pups from birth and then release them back into the wild when they are able to fend for themselves. Now, these lodges and ranches here also have experiences with the giant anteater, the anaconda, and a lot of bird life species that are on our protected list, and that you can have that experience of seeing them and learning the history behind these animals, as well as the cultural preservation that happens with the indigenous peoples because they are able to now turn to tourism as a source of income and stay within their communities. In closing, I said this, I think, in a previous webinar, but I think it still runs true knowing our world situation right now. Guyana is a land where social distancing is built into the landscape and conservation is a natural part of our tourism product. And to that end, I'd like to share our last video, which was compliments of the Sustainable Wildlife Management Program Guyana. And it does feature one of the guides I've had the pleasure of being led by in Rewa Lodge. I hope you guys enjoy it.
My favorite fish for me to eat is peacock bass. Everyone loves peacock bass. I would say the nature or the forest, the river, it's my supermarket. It's like going to the supermarket, but there's nowhere that you can pay to no one. It's just going there and getting it. In my father days, there was a lot of fish in this area here, where he used to fish close by. Then now you can't do that. So then we have to go farther up, where it's like a lot more. Everybody try to get income out from the fish, sell it to earn a little income from it. So then the population start dropping. So what we try to do is like use things in a sustainable way, especially the fishes, because every people here in the Rupununi depends on fishes. So what we try to educate people now is like, when the water level start raise, don't put that net, so let all the fish go up for the spawning season, and on their return, then you can start fishing for them. Yes. when I'm walking with a stick, if I'm possible to reach that age. That is my hope, that you can hear parrots, you can see parrots, you can see fish, you still can't fish. That's my hope right now.
All right, I think this is a lucky bunch because you guys got 2 videos. The last one did not. Just before we close off, just for more information on Destination Guyana and some of the tourism experiences you can have here and how it does tie back to conservation tourism, you can visit our website at www.guyanatourism.com, which is the official destination website of Guyana. You can also visit exploreguyana.org, which is the website for the Tourism Hospitality Institute Association of Guyana. This is the private sector sister agency to the GTA and is a membership-based organization. For more information on statistics, please visit statisticsguyana.gov.gy. For more investment information, please visit goinvest.gov.gy. And for more information on the International Airport of Guyana that services the US and Canadian regions, you can visit cgairport-gy.com. This is our team in Georgetown, Guyana, and we are supported by our extended team in the North American markets, UK and German markets as well. From the Guyana Tourism Authority, for any new operator or airline, we do provide key information, assist with coordinating travel-related events and setting up interviews, joint advertising, support on-fam trips, as well as negotiate hotel rates and just help building that relationship with the Guyana private sector so that your clients and our clients will have a great experience. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Jenna.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Nicola. That was really great. Those videos were amazing. That was the first time that I got to see those too. So I'm really looking forward to the launch of that first one there. That's great. So now, everybody, if you have any questions, now would be the time for you to type them through to us, so we can do a quick Q&A with Nicola here. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to type those through now. Or if you do have to step away, remember that this will be recorded and I will send out a video in the webinar follow-up later this week. So one question here for you, Nicola. Can you just repeat how big you said the black caiman were, how many pounds and what the feet was on them?
Sure. So the black caiman can actually get up to, I think, 12 to 13 feet in length. And it could weigh probably about, I would say about 200 or 300. But I know the Arapaima fish, I think that's what I had highlighted as well. That fish can actually get up to 8 to 12 feet in length and weigh up to 400 pounds. Which when you do think about the fish that you have for dinner, knowing that someone in that species can get up to that, I think that's what's kind of mind-boggling in a sense as well.
All right, well, that is all that we've gotten through for questions. We had some comments about how great the videos were, but I think since we're right at time here, that unless anybody has any other questions, we will just wrap up for the day and everybody can enjoy their afternoons or mornings or whatever time it is there.
All right. Thanks, Jenna, and thank you, everyone.
I will add one last note in, which you will be seeing as well in our webinar follow-up. Today, we are actually launching our OTT Guyana course. So what this means is it's a course that we've created to help educate the travel trade on Guyana. So it officially went live today. So we are very excited about that. There is also some prizes for the first 15 agents who complete the course. So if you do have any questions about that and want to check it out, I can send you the information on that. I will, of course, include it in the webinar follow-up as well. But if you do want information before then, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about that. So that's very exciting as well. So we are looking forward to many different things right now with Guyana. So thank you again for joining us, for taking time out of your day. And thanks to you as well, Nicola.
Thanks. Bye.